Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Friday. The weekend is here. Man, they finally got the trees off my front lawn. It took 2-3 weeks. I don't know how long ago the ice storm was, but they finally got the trees off my lawn. Trees had fallen everywhere. But anyway, it feels like, spring is on the way. I'm happy. You're happy. It's Friday. The weekend's just around the corner. We got some sports to talk about. Steve Kim will join us, as will Jay Skapinac, as will TJ Moe. And as we do every Friday, Coach Jason Brown will be here. The fearless part of the show will be more concise today. We'll try to do this in an hour and 15. And then, and I can guarantee you this, we won't have the technical difficulties. We won't have, again, part of this cleanup yesterday going on in my neighborhood of these fallen trees from the ice storm were part of our problem yesterday. That's all gone. It's bright and sunny. The lawns, my lawn's even green right now. But anyway, lawns look great. And we will be on Harmony today, replaying or reliving or giving our thoughts. We'll have Harmony at the movies. There's a movie on Amazon Prime called Relationship Goals. It's a movie about the book that Mike Todd wrote called Relationship Goals. Y'all remember, what was the Steve Harvey movie? Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman, or Act Like a Woman, Think Like a Man. They turned that into a movie. I think they tried to do this for Relationship Goals with that heretic minister in Tulsa, Oklahoma that spits in people's faces and does all kinds of crazy stuff. There's a movie about him. So me, Anthony, Virgil, and Shamika will talk about that on the Harmony channel. But today we got a lot of good sports stuff to talk about. We'll start with Steve Kim and Jay Skapinac. Steve Kim and there we got Jay as well. Steve Kim and Jay Skapinac. And we want to start, gentlemen, I almost forgot to tell the people listening over Apple or watching over Spotify. I don't know if you guys know, we're now can be watched on Spotify. Give us that 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple. It's very, very important for us. But anyway, let's go right into today's topic. Bomani Jones had something interesting to say about tanking in the NBA. And let's start with Bomani's suggestion on how to fix tanking in the NBA.
People cannot imagine a world without a draft when it's so simple, right? Like there are ways that you could come up with things like I say, if you want to try to make it about competitive redistribution, then give people the salary allotments, and then like the worst team gets more or whatever it is, and then go for it. We could call it National Signing Day, and everybody announces where they're going, and we figure it out. Like it's a sellable proposition. Soccer seems to do just fine in these.
But Monty, the product is right there. Like, are people really out on college football and college basketball because there's no draft? No, they don't care. Right, they love it. The fact that there's no draft.
Sounds good, but I'm not sure if it has. I don't know if I like this idea. Steve Kim, your thoughts?
He's not the first one to suggest this particular measure. I mean, guys, people have been talking about the unfairness of the draft for years. Why are athletes at this level in those particular sports the only ones to go into a workforce or a workplace where they're forced or mandated to go somewhere? Everyone else, Jace, when you graduated from Ball State, you were free to work for any paper. I'm sure you didn't get the Washington Post and the New York Times fighting for you, but you were able to go to the paper of your choice that wanted to hire you, right? It wasn't like the LA Times.
I went to the only newspaper willing to hire me for $5 an hour.
You were a one-star writer. Let's not make you into a parade All-American here. But it's not like the LA Times drafted you into the newsroom. I get that. But to the last point that they made, like people aren't out on college football. Well, yeah, those guys actually try. All right. Those games actually matter, which is still a bigger issue. But it's not the worst idea. But I do wonder, to be the cynic that I am, I know that you want to go to a place where you have an opportunity to play, right? You don't want to be Jermaine O'Neal in Portland just languishing, or Zach Randolph. That was another case, right? But I think there's such a mindset now of just getting the money. I don't even think these guys care to play. Think about it. In a league where load management is a thing, even if you're going to be the fourth or fifth forward on a team, as long as you get enough money and you're thinking, wait, and they're not going to even expect me to play 40 minutes, for them, it's a win-win.
Scap, what do you think here?
I think it's an issue with competitive balance, quite frankly. And really, I'm looking at the small market teams, which the NBA has been trying to protect for years, and they need to protect. Like, who's going to want to go if they have the opportunity to go to LA or Miami, and those teams can pay them a lot of money? Well, they're not going to pick Charlotte or Cleveland or San Antonio.
OKC.
Right. And look at some of the teams I just mentioned in San Antonio and Oklahoma City. They're the two best teams, arguably, in the entire NBA. Charlotte, they've won 10 out of their last 11 games. They're a young, elite, up-and-coming team in the Eastern Conference. None of those things would be able to be built if not through the draft. Those front offices have to do things better. They have to scout better. They have to build through the draft and manufacture these teams that way. They don't have the capacity to go out and lure guys with money in free agency. So now what we're saying is, let's eradicate that small minor advantage that these small market teams might have and just give even more, ability of the big market powerhouses to go out and stack their rosters with teams that you simply can't compete with. We finally have gotten out of the super team era that was constructed by LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Now we're finally getting into a little bit more parity and balance. And now Bomani Jones and Steve Kim come along and they want to just do away with it. Come on, Steve, you're better.
Well, wait a minute. I didn't say I completely agreed. I believe that there's a pragmatic reality to this. You're right. You want to have competitive balance. And I see what's going on in baseball where the Dodgers have kind of gamed the system and they're putting together an all-star team at every single level. And there's a lot of complaining about what's going on there. But if this thing is to be implemented in the way Bomani Jones says, now you're going to have to say, how is the cap constructed? Is it a hard cap? Can you game the system? Can you do deferred money? Now, if you had a hard cap where it was just this amount, you can't do deferred payments, you can't play any of this bookkeeping, yeah, it can work. But at the same time, here's the issue. Once these players hit their second contract and they're out on the free market, I believe a lot of these agents and players will still gravitate towards the major markets like LA, New York, Chicago, etc.
There's a couple things here that, one, I growing up an Indiana Pacer fan, that this would be not an advantage to Indiana and to the Indianapolis Pacers, the Indiana Pacers, my team. I think what I like about this and why I wanted to talk about it is more so from Nick Wright suggesting the black-white all-star game to these guys saying, hey, here's an idea, let's eliminate the draft. What this all is an indication of is that sports are in chaos. Everybody is coming out of the closet and realizing, like, hey, man, we need to make some major adjustments here because these things aren't working. Everybody is acknowledging the product isn't what it used to be, and we need to start exploring suggestions. And I actually think that's a good thing. That change is going, like, from the Pro Football Hall of Fame to things are being discussed about how can we make things better because things have gotten so bad.
Well, Scap, Jason, don't you think it's ironic that these guys who are now calling for a complete overhaul of what is taking place in the NBA or throughout sports were probably the same guys championing this athlete empowerment, and we love this new way for the past 10 to 15 years. So in other words, they endorsed everything that broke this, and now they're going to be the ones who fix it. Cue Alanis Morissette.
That's a great point, Steve. Great. And you're spot on, especially and particularly in how we're talking about Bomani Jones right now. I can tell you that he was one of those guys that was championing the player empowerment movement that has in effect destroyed most sports and in particular the NBA.
The only way to fix professional sports, and this applies to the NFL, Major League Baseball. I'd apply it to hockey. They got to come up with a system where, hey, you get this base salary, but the rest of the salary you earn is through wins and losses on the court. There has to be part of your salary riding on the outcome of every game. That will make guys play. And I've been writing and talking about that maybe 15, 18, maybe as long as 20 years. When I was working, man, it's been that long because I was working at America Line on Sports, and I wrote a whole series on how to fix sports and how to improve things. You have to tie some of the money to wins and losses. That's how you fix sports.
Obviously, sheer competitiveness and, pride isn't enough, Jason. You're right, seemingly, because these guys don't care to compete. They don't even care as they're getting routinely raked across the coals throughout social media and the principal media about the lack of effort, the lack of competition. They've not taken the pride to care about it at all to this point. So you're right. Apparently, the only way to do it is through the pocketbooks and the bottom line, which is the money.
I'm going to defend, Steve will give you the final thought on this, but I'm going to defend the players. I think it would happen to all of us. If we became instant millionaires at 19 or 20 years old, or 18 now, you go to college and make money. I think by age 25, 24, feels like monopoly money, and you just start, they really need me for the playoffs. I'm a tiny bit more sympathetic to the players. Steve, final thought.
No, I'm with you. I'm always looking for easy work for more money. I always argue this in boxing. I'm told all the time, Steve, the fighters want to fight everybody. They want the toughest fights. I go, no, they really don't. They want first-round knockouts for $10 million. Nobody wants to go 15 rounds for half that money. And that's why boxing's at where it's at, because fighters and managers now, guess what? They're gaming the system. They're finding ways not to give us the biggest fights. The fans are the ones who lose out. The reality is, though, now, I'm not a big soccer fan, okay?
There you go.
But don't they in European soccer have this thing called relegation, where if a team is so bad over a period of time, you basically get demoted out of the big leagues? Maybe that might, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you implement that here in America, but I know that other leagues throughout the world employ that.
Justin, one of our producers here, is a Premier League fan. And they got relegation over there, and they also, I don't think they don't have a draft. And so Justin, the Bomani and these guys reference that. How does it work over in Premier League soccer?
Yeah, so each team has their own they have their own academies. But the thing is that it's like college football in a sense. Each player or prospect will go to the best teams. So it means the best prospects go to the best teams. It's really not a good system because it's a very top-heavy league. Arsenal's at the top, Man City's at the top, Man U is at the top. They're all at the top. If that happens in the NBA, guess who's going to get the top players? Lakers, Celtics, top teams. It's a bad system.
Very interesting thought. Hey, guys, I want to keep it moving. There's something else I wanted to get to with you guys before I brought in TJ Moe. LeBron James. Last night, historic moment, Scap. I know you know where you were at last night. He became the oldest player with a triple-double. I found this tweet. I think it was from Apex Jones, just trashing. Yeah, it was from Apex Jones. My memory's great. The king of stat hunting, stat padding, and smoke ducking, LeBron James. LeBron, you can't use his full name. The face of the NBA's load management black eye shamelessly load managed the 2-seed Spurs. He skipped the game with Wembyamba and the Spurs and then stays in a 20-point blowout over the 12-seed Mavericks to chase a triple-double. He stole a rebound that clearly belonged to Jackson Hayes to become the oldest player to record a triple-double. This single play defines his career, holy cow, career, using Hayes' box out to steal the rebound. Hayes worked for and pad his numbers to reach another milestone, fraudulently cheating the game and his teammates for his own self-aggrandizement. 23 years, a fraud. Scap, did you ghostwrite that?
I was going to say Apex Jones sounds like he hates LeBron more than I do. So shout out Apex. Look, I'll say this about LeBron and that. Let me expand upon that tweet real quick or whatever, that posting on X. Look at the stats. Look at this highlight you're showing. Shout out to your production team. That rebound came with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left in the fourth quarter of a 20-point blowout against a team not even in the play-in range right now, who, by the way, didn't even have Cooper Flagg last night. Okay, so LeBron, and that was his, by the way, 35th minute played of that game. Do you know what that constituted, guys? The most minutes of anyone in that entire game on either team. There were 24 other guys that logged a minute in that game, and LeBron played more than all of them to chase down that 10th rebound, which he did again. Obviously, snag it right off of his center right there, Jackson Hayes. And then, of course, he's running down the court pointing, and the crowd is cheering. It is a disgusting moment. We seriously, the NBA needs to lose this guy. They need to shed the weight of this fraud so they can fully start healing this product. Just an incredible scene. Guys, I guess whoever knows, and whoever doesn't. Like the LeBron, the blind apologists, the bootlickers and jock sniffers out there will be groveling at the feet of the fraud king all day today over this sham triple-double. It's just laughable.
Steve, it reminded me a lot of Kobe Bryant's 60-point night to end his career. Your thoughts?
It is. Look, as the resident Laker fan in recess, Whitlock, that's a point taken that I can't completely disagree with. When it comes to hating LeBron James, Scap and Apex, they are the Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams of that. They battle. It's two of the all-time greats. I've gotten to see their work up close. It's a great honor. But yeah, in the immortal words, I think it was Diana Ross, as a Laker fan in recess, set me free, why don't you, Bron? My God, there's nothing. This is just one man's ego, one woman's incompetence that is complete. I'm just telling you, Jason, you have not lived in LA for at least, 6 years now?
5.
I have never seen the passion and the interest for the Lakers in our community be this muted. It's almost like they do not exist. You know what people are really looking forward to in LA as sports fans, believe it or not? Spring training. This is now clearly a Dodger town, and it's not even close.
Yeah, LeBron, it just pulls into focus. He turned down Wembanyama and playing in that game so he could be rested up to chase this triple-double against the Dallas Mavericks. It's not a good look for LeBron. He is not. Yeah.
Jason, real quick, let me jump back in here because your point, your and Steve's point on Kobe, is a valid point for that last game, that last season maybe. Look, this guy ruptured his Achilles, Kobe. He played in 6 games and 35 games in the 2 seasons the fall. Look, he was 37 years old. He obviously knew he was washed. He couldn't do it anymore physically. He couldn't be the player he wanted to be. So he made that last year his retirement tour year where he did in the last game go out and just try to score as many points as he could with a lousy team that was going nowhere. LeBron James is 41 years old. Still stuck around to stat pad primarily and only, but he has at least championship pieces. Luka Doncic is a top 3 player in the NBA right now. Austin Reeves, if he didn't miss as many games as he did, he would have been an easy all-star selection in my estimation this season. This team isn't just some middling, floundering team. They have championship aspirations, and he still is shamelessly stat padding and just worried about his own individual accolades right now. It's not an apples-to-apples comp.
And Scap, to your point, I will agree with this. Kobe is no worse than the second most beloved Laker. It's either him or Magic, right? And no disrespect to Kareem, James Worthy, Shaquille, anyone else. But Jason, on that night, if you watch the last 5 minutes, there was an electricity in that arena as Kobe started accumulating points because we were all for it. Now, were guys like me ready to move on? Yes. But Kobe was our guy, so we at least enjoyed that 61, whatever that was. You look at what's going on there. People are just like, okay, let's beat traffic. It's the emotion of the Laker fan comparing those two things. There's a stark difference.
Steve, I can cut Scap a little bit of a break because I haven't known Skap as long as I've known you. But I'm shocked that I was able to trigger you and Skap. I knew Skap would happen, but we were having a nice discussion bashing LeBron James, and then both of you put your Kobe capes on and said, "Hold on, Whitlock, you've gone too far."
Wait a minute.
Could we just bash LeBron?
I am the rarity. I am the Laker fan that is not part of the Kobe clan, or the cult of Kobe, as I like to say it. I'm not one of those Laker fans who believes he's the greatest Laker of all time. It's Irvin Magic Johnson. I get it. But I can be realistic. Like CNN, I am fair and balanced. That's what I bring to the table here.
Skap, I'm not going to let you, because it's getting a little creepy. I think you may have something up with Vanessa. I'm going to let you go. We're going to bring TJ Moe into the conversation because we're going to switch to some football. Ole Miss coach Joe Judge. Yeah. Man, he's sparked something here. Do we got TJ? Is TJ ready to go? Because I want TJ to be able to hear this clip. Here's Joe Judge, seemingly kind of lighting himself on fire, but I'm not so sure. Let's play the clip.
But we would have to educate. This is always a tough conversation to have, and it's not going to be a popular thing, but this is the truth. We would have to educate significant others who may have been pregnant during the season, or going to have a baby during the season, and you'd have to educate them on, you have this baby in the middle of the season, that father has to play good football, right? It's a day-by-day production business. He has to be ready to perform and go out there and play. And when I say that is, you need to let him sleep. He needs to be in another room, detached. You have to explain to the mother, like, hey, listen, he ain't waking up for midnight feedings. After the season, he's full metal jacket. You do whatever you want with him. And he can change every diaper. But in season, he's got to have a different priority.
So that's at a court hearing for Trinidad Chambliss. I guess does he have a baby? I'm not sure. But that's Joe Judge giving some very difficult advice that he says he gives his players. TJ, as a former SEC football player, as a father, have you gotten your wife pregnant again? Is she a fifth baby on the way?
I was hoping for twins, but no, it's hard to get somebody pregnant while they're already pregnant. Due in May. Thank you for asking.
I know you're trying. Anyway, your reaction to Joe Judge.
As part of my introduction, also a former one-year player of Joe Judge. He was the assistant special teams coach in New England in 2013 when I was there. And he was the most fatherly figure of anyone I met in New England. And that is the interesting twist here. And so what I would tell you is what I watched him embody was somewhat different than a 40-second clip of what you heard there. But even that 40-second clip didn't sound that bad to me, and I don't know what the context was. What was the question? What is he describing? How was all of this framed? And I would just say, absent all of that, do you know what happens when we have a baby? I've had 3 so far. Every time, for about a month, sometimes 2, I set up shop in the other room. And because I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning, I have a job to do, and she's a stay-at-home mom, and she gets up and does the feedings. And by the way, women have to get up and do the feedings most of the time because a lot of people don't use bottles anyway. So there's a lot of, he to me sounds like he's talking about educating young kids who have no idea how to operate when you have a job, and that's now what college football has become, a job. If you want to keep this job and you want to continue to support that child, and I want you to be the best father that you can possibly be, you have to sleep. And I can tell you the last 2 days prior to today, finally last night I got some sleep. I've got a 9-month-old that refuses to sleep, and my wife is at the end of her rope. And guess who's up all night with her? Me. And guess how terrible my performance is all day long trying to use my brain? Awful. You cannot produce on any level if you're not getting any sleep. I actually think it's really good advice, and I think he's going to get lit on fire, and I think it's totally wrong.
Steve, your thoughts?
Judge and jury. Joe is the judge and jury. And I think he's absolutely being honest and blunt in a world you're not allowed to be. And the reality is, to what TJ said, if you're now on an NIL package, and the NIL is pay for play, it's not about name, image, and likeness, and you have a salary, and you have that scholarship, which allows you to be on that team's payroll, that is now a job. And to TJ's point, if you are the guy going into that coal mine or into that swamp or that trench digging ditches all day, and you got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, what man is not going to try to get extra sleep? There's roles in the household. And if your job as a college football player is to play well and there's expectations, Joe Judge is letting you know this is now the real world. You are getting paid to play, and you better play well, or we may just have you transfer. That is the harsh reality of this thing. But it reminds me, Jason, I don't know if you remember this. TJ's way too young. I remember back in the early 90s or late 80s, the Houston Oilers had a defensive or an offensive lineman named David Williams. And he left to be with his wife. And I think it was during a late season game or a playoff game. And it was a big controversy because Jerry Glanville said, whoa, wait a minute. This game's important. What are you going to do? Deliver the baby? Do you remember that story? And that really set off. Right. Yeah. And that really set off where guys got to miss it. And they had to be there in the delivery room. And they had their own paternity leave in the middle of the season. There used to be a time to be like, okay, you'll see the baby, pass out cigars, but we'll see you at practice at 12. It's changed.
One thing that's, and TJ, I'm 20 some odd years older than you, but in my college football experience, it was rare for a guy to have a kid while he was playing college football. And what I mean rare, we'll go it around. We had 100 guys on the team. And I would think 5 of them maybe had kids. Maybe. I can remember my freshman year, Neil Britt, our quarterback, he was married and lived off campus in married housing. One of my best friends, my roommate in college, Ralph Wise, his senior year, he got married. But it just wasn't a lot of that. Like there wasn't a lot. In your era, 20, 25 years after mine, because I say all that to say that coaches didn't have these conversations back in my era because it was very rare. But it seems more commonplace for these guys now to have kids, and some of that is like, and they're making enough money that they can actually so-called afford them. But anyway, so this conversation would have never transpired in my era. How about it? Was there any advice for the players as it relates to dealing with kids or wives or whatever when you were at Mizzou?
Not that I recall. And I think I had the number 6 in my head out of our team. That's about the guys I could think of that had kids. So I think our experiences were fairly similar. And I only ever met one of the kids. Henry Josie would bring his kid around and we would have fun with him. Other than that, a lot of these guys weren't, I don't know if they were in their lives or whatever, but the kid would be back home in Houston or wherever. So it wasn't one of these things where you got her pregnant, baby's coming. I can think of 1 or 2 of those guys. But breaks my heart. But the reality is most of these guys just had abortions. So there was not a lot of having the baby.
Jason, TJ, there's a funny story. I knew someone that was in this room. When Mark Richt, highly religious, great man, was at the University of Miami, his son was the quarterback or wide receiver coach. He was on the staff. And I know someone else in this room, and he was telling the wide receiver guys, hey, guys, abstinence is the way to go. Wait to have a kid. He's giving this long sermon, and my buddy told me that was in that position. He said, Steve, the problem was 4 guys already had kids listening to this, so that went right over their head. The other thing is, and I know you guys have talked about this before, early 90s, Jimmy Johnson cut John Roper, special teams backup linebacker, because he fell asleep in a meeting. And he just went over to John and said, John, if you need rest, you can go home. You cut. Get out of here. Turned out John Roper could not get any rest, and he was tired because he had a baby keeping him up all night. He had just had a child. So these things do have ramifications in the real world.
TJ, you got a final thought? Fire.
I mean, I'm just giving you an example. I yawned one time because I was trying to learn the play, but this is in New England. I yawned one time, and the receiver coach came over to me one time and said, if you do that in front of Bill Belichick, he will cut you immediately. I don't care what you have to do. Pull your hoodie over your head. You yawn in this meeting, you will be cut. And that is what Chad O'Shea told me, the receiver coach, 2013 Patriots. So that does exist.
I want to keep it moving, guys. Derek Carr is talking about returning to a title contender. I think he wants to be known as the cooler He's going to come out with a football movie, The Cooler. You got a title contending team. I came here to cool it off. Here, let's play the clip of Derek Carr.
Sorry, would I come back? The answer obviously is yes.
Good. Okay, great.
But I have I had to say no a couple of times so far.
Yeah, Will, we know that. Do I have any purple and gold?
Go Lakers.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. It's Laker season.
That's right. I told you this. It hasn't changed from the first interview that we did.
Tell him.
Okay.
Tell the people.
All right. Would I do it? Yes. Would I do it for anybody? Absolutely not.
Nope, there's no way. I know from experience in the last couple months he would not. So stop calling unless you're serious. Unless you're trying to make a run at this thing.
Yeah.
Right? The confetti falling.
Listen.
The Lombardi in the sky. That's what we're after, okay?
Yeah.
That's what we're after.
So would I do it? Absolutely, I would do it. I told you two things. I'd have to be healthy, and I would want a chance to win a Super Bowl.
That's two pretty
and
good
obviously,
factors.
that's a tough thing to find. That's hard to do. That's not easy.
I'm going to tell you right now, though, I know you're healthy. So
I wonder if is this an audition? Is he campaigning to be the backup quarterback for Patrick Mahomes? Is that what he's? I mean, because seriously, this, and I'm telling you, I like Derek Carr. He talks about his fate. I like him, but he sounds a little delusional here. Is there a Super Bowl team out there, Steve, that's like, hey, you know what? Derek Carr is the missing piece for our Super Bowl run.
Well, there used to be a phrase, your most important player is your quarterback. Who's your second most important? Backup. So the question is, number one, I don't know what he has left, but isn't the assumption that a healthy version of Derek Carr that still wants to play football, couldn't he at least be a serviceable, solid backup?
Without question.
Okay, doesn't he have doesn't he have the psychological and mental makeup to accept the role willingly? If he does, if I'm a team that said, hey, you never know, I'd kick the tires on it. But again, we don't know if there's a Super Bowl caliber team have Derek Carr at the top of their wish list. Probably not at this moment.
TJ, did that sound like a guy that was interested in being someone's backup quarterback?
Did not, but I can tell you where I think he's coming from. It seemed obvious to me. He's watching such putrid quarterback play across the NFL, and that you can't touch anybody, and that there aren't a lot of real problems, and people are just walking in. He watched Phillip Rivers come in off the street and took the Super Bowl champs down to the wire. And that's all I got to do is show up, throw the football around a little bit. He may be delusional, but that's where his head is.
Well, his head's there, but it's like that was the NFL he played in. He's only been out a year, right? He's only set out a year. So
I think he was injured for a lot of the back his last several years. I think he had some real problems. Remember, there was a year that he won 12 games with the Raiders and was in the MVP race. So he has performed at a high level at some point in his career.
Guys, do you remember, and I know you do, Jason, there was a gentleman by the name of Steve DeBerg. He was famous for being a backup to the future quarterback for about 15 years. If I recall correctly, Jason, wasn't he retired for about 3? And then he ended up on the 98 Falcons as their backup?
Yes. At age 44, I believe. Yes. It was much like Phillip Rivers, you know. But I'm just trying. If Derek Carr, if I was the Cleveland Browns, would I take Derek Carr in my QB room as an insurance policy? Yes, but no one thinks of them as a Super Bowl contender, even though with their defense and improved, who knows? But you know, is he telling Pittsburgh or Mike McCarthy, hey, I see, you know? But they seem to be going down the road with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just trying to. I think he sounds a bit delusional. If he's willing to be a backup quarterback on a very good team, I think it makes sense. And there are some bad teams, because here's what I think he thinks. I think hey, man, everybody gave up on Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl. And he's thinking, everybody's giving up on me. And in the right situation, I could be Sam Darnold. That's what he thinks. And there could be kernels of truth in that, because Sam Darnold played pretty good this year. He was not lights out. To me, he's not some MVP candidate. So anyway, let me move on. I want to play you guys this clip of Kansas State coach Jerome Tang. This is college basketball. He snapped last night after his team got the brakes beat off of him Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon, not a fan of it. So let's start with shot 10 of Jerome Tang's snapping, and then play Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon's reaction.
Hey, I'm gonna honor Christ like I always do. Blessed to do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer, no words. So y'all got two questions. So whoever want to ask two questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, I'm like pissed. Dude's got to have some. They got some pride, man. They got some pride. It means something to wear a K-State uniform. It means something to put on this purple, man. Our everything this university is about and all that it's been about. Why I love this place, man. Like they don't love this place, so they don't deserve to be here.
Tony, isn't this too tough on a college team?
Well, let's review for a second. Let's go to the Bomber quotes. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. They don't love this place, so they don't deserve to be here. Can I ask the relevant question? Who recruited these people?
Cincinnati came in with a 500 record, I believe 12-12 in the game. K-State was 10-13. Playing at home, I got a lot of experience in Manhattan, Kansas. Bramlage Coliseum's tough place to play. They get beat 91-62. That's embarrassing. No reason Cincinnati should come in. And I think if I went a cut deeper, and Hadley brought this up this morning, if I went a cut deeper, I would say like Jerome Tang is like, hey man, something's up here. This effort wasn't on the level. There's no way Cincinnati should come into our arena, beat us by 30. We got a great fan base, and yes, we're having a tough season, but there's a lot, there's nothing else to do in Manhattan, Kansas, and K-State fans are crazy. They're super supportive. They'll support a bad team. That's embarrassing. He's questioning everything about his team. Like, I got some bad character guys here. They will not be here next year. I don't think Tony and Mike, I think they missed the mark here. Jerome Tang's hinting at something a little deeper. Steve?
You know who's probably softer than the K-State players? Wilbon and Kornheiser. What happened to them?
They're old guys.
My God, have they? That was JB. And I'm not saying I agree.
Put JB on camera.
Yeah, get JB. Y'all come up on here. Bring him up.
I hate. Yeah, we can hear you. Did the audience hear that as well, Luke?
I hope they did.
Oh.
Hear it? Shoot. They need to hear it. That's ridiculous. By the way, the true character of a man isn't revealed until adversity hits him in the face, not when a bag of money's presented to him during the recruiting process, Kornheiser. So you never know who you really have.
Hey, don't be talking that salty to my man, Tony Kornheiser. That's my
Is he in America yet or still in Canada?
Huh?
Is he still living in Canada doing Zoom like a
No,
Wookiee?
he lives in Washington, D.C.
All I could say is this, guys. Have they never heard of a guy by the name of Bob Huggins, who I believe at one time was at Kansas State? I get it. You can't go Robert Montgomery, Bobby Knight anymore. But I actually thought Coach Tang was very measured. I thought he was very determined. And I think what his way of saying is, I made a mistake. I'm going to eradicate those mistakes. And I'm going to bring in guys who want to be Kansas State Wildcats. He didn't say, I'm going to cut these guys tomorrow. I'm not going to take away their scholarship money because none of that happens anymore. But my God, are coaches no longer allowed to enforce any standards? It's ridiculous.
TJ, you got a comment here?
It looked like a guy just having a conversation with his wife. I don't even understand. He didn't even lose his temper. What are we so upset about? The guy very nicely said, I recruited a group of people who do not actually care about basketball. That's a mistake, and it will be rectified immediately. It was the nicest way you could have possibly presented it. And he was mad because he said, I'm really angry. I'm going to honor Jesus in this moment. And then he said it. Okay. So I don't know how much nicer the guy could be than that. How do you get upset about this?
Room and he walks in with a piece of used toilet paper and he says, guys, this is what you guys are playing like right now. And he just dropped it on the floor, that piece of used toilet paper. We need more of that in America.
Well,
we need more
here's
of that.
The way that story was told to us as kids growing up in Indiana, is that he didn't wipe his rear end. He pulled his pants down and took a dump right at center court.
Even better.
That's what you guys played like.
Well, that's even better.
Hey, Jason, what did Wilbon say, though? He said, it's too hard on college kids, did he not? It's
play the
too
clip
hard
again.
On
hold on.
Hey, TJ, go ahead.
We're going to play the clip again.
Tony, isn't this too tough on a college team?
Well, let's review for a second. Let's go to the bomber quotes. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. They don't love.
Go ahead,
I thought they were professionals now, though, Wilbon. I've heard you on your show a couple weeks ago talk about them being professionals now, and school means nothing, and they should be getting paid. Which one is it, man? I'm so tired of these hypocrites. Like, which one is it? Is he a professional that signed a contract to go play for money, or is he now a kid and we feel soft for him because he got yelled at? I'm so tired of these cats, man. It's ridiculous. I'm glad I've been off all week. I feel like I've been watching a lot of soft shows out there. And so hopefully this one isn't one of them. But go ahead.
No. It can't be about age. Nobody's ever said, man, they're really hard on those Marines. Those 18-year-old Marines, doggone. It's not the age. What are we so upset about?
Well, TJ, they want girls on the front line now, so it makes sense.
That is true. Not Pete. We'll take
TJ, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. Steve, don't go anywhere. I want to get one more thing in. And Trinidad Chambliss is getting another year of eligibility. Is he sticking around at Ole Miss? Or
yes.
Yes. How big of a deal is this? Did he deserve it? Right thing, wrong thing?
Well, it's a big deal because he might be a Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he elevates that offense. He was one of the better quarterbacks this season. Here's what's happening. The NCAA and all the regulatory boards are saying, no. They're doing the right thing. And what happens is a local judge in that state who wants to cheer on that local U will be like, no, he can play. So it's like, so you might as well not even try to enforce any rules. Just have a local magistrate said, well, I'd like to win some games this year. Yes, you get your 9th year. To me, it's easy to blame the NCAA. I get it. People have said they did nothing for years. Well, now they're trying to actually bring in some rules and guardrails. Guess what, though? They're powerless.
JB?
Tyler Siskey and AJ McCarron broke it on my show a couple weeks ago. They said this would definitely happen. It was going to happen because the judge is an Ole Miss grad. So once it became state level and it got heard by a judge in the state of Mississippi by an Ole Miss judge, guess what was going to happen? But what I hear is the NCAA is not going to lay down lightly and nicely and go away. They're going to appeal this process as well. The NCAA will as early as today. So who knows? I don't understand the fight by the NCAA on this particular kid, but not everybody else. Not going after coaches for giving a $2 hamburger, not for allowing, Chase Young to fly his girl to the Rose Bowl for a $200 ticket. We're suspending and fining and all this, but when this, Pavia and we have a 9th year kid who played at SC in 18 when I was on Netflix. It was a freshman. And now he got his 9th year of eligibility at Montana. But this is the guy we're fighting after? Listen, I don't know, man. I don't know where to go anymore. I think it's all too long. I think 5 years should be the max cutoff. I don't care what happens. If you break your tibia 3 times, guess what? Life chose you to move on.
Why, JB? Why not? I said this yesterday. Why not let him play 8 years? Why not?
Oh, God.
Because, Jason, there's a real fundamental issue. Development of new blood. We don't have it. Have you not seen the NFL quarterback? That's why Derek Carr wants to come back. He doesn't want to come back because he thinks he's Sam Darnold. He wants to come back because quarterback play is the worst it's ever been. That's why he wants to come back, because 43-year-old Phillip Rivers just did it. Why can't he? Like, listen, Derek Carr is horrific, number one. Number two, The first part of the problem is we aren't developing any young talent because we won't recruit the lifeblood out of high school or JUCO because we have 8th-year quarterbacks. So if that's continuing to be the pool to pluck from, where's the new blood to develop from ground up? We're just taking a kid from one philosophy to another, to another, to another, to another, and then you throw him at 26 years old into the NFL. Where do you think the development and the product is going to be? Horrific. No development, and the product's bad in the NFL, which it is right now. I've been saying it for 4 years because of this process. You need new blood. And high school is being under-recruited right now because of the transfer portal having 10,000 players in it, not going anywhere. Remember, 33% of those 10,000 get moved on. There's only 131 playing Division I school, Jason. To do the math, it's not hard to figure out. They can't all go nowhere or all somewhere. So I don't understand why we continue to allow these old quarterbacks. If you played baseball and you were drafted out of high school like the Kyler Murrays and the Brandon Whedons and the Winkies, I understand that. But they never started their football clock. Those are anomalies. We got these guys doing it every year, going 2 years JUCO. Get those 2 years back. Use the COVID year still. Use the excuse for the SAT score not counting and GPAs being relevant. What are we doing? We're just throwing out everything. So anyone can play now. It's a joke. Jason, I broke a story on my show. One of my former players in 2008 played for me at Compton College. He played this year, Jason, with his son. And ESPN took the story and never gave me credit, of course, but the kid played for me. Not only did he play for me, he coached for me 5 years later. And now he's 44 years old. He's running for mayor of Compton. And he's playing at Compton College with his own son because the NCAA gave their years back. What are we doing? It's a mockery.
Yeah, Whitlock. The mockery.
It's a TV show, just like everything else. And if Trinidad Chambliss has still got some box office appeal at this, again, I'm not saying it's the right thing, but I'm just like, why are we drawing the line on this? We're paying the players anything we want, millions of dollars, whatever. Why draw the line on how long they play? It would make college football more interesting. I'm for it.
Well, then the UFL and the CFL will die. They don't need to have those leagues at all.
They're dead to me anyway.
It's a one-stop shop. This is a one-stop shop. The UFL, if they were smart, they would take the 5th year from the college kid that didn't get drafted or got hurt or got the renew year or whatever, like this Chambliss kid, and they would take on that NIL contract and pay him that 1 year, and that's their amateur league. Because they need to do something to fix those amateur leagues or get rid of them. Because that's why they're not sustainable. Because nothing can compete with the NFL. We already know that. But the amateur league and the UFL, if they're not going to pay these players, as Steve and I are on our show with AJ McCarron, who's the head coach right now in that league, is like, look, the players just leave. I've had 5 players just walk up and go get another job. So, like, unless they start paying those guys, which they could figure it out right now by paying these older college kids at least a 1-year amateur stop, just like the USFL used to be for Warren Moon and Steve Young and all those great players that could have went to the NFL or not. Do that. But they need to change something because college football staying in 8 years is not the answer.
Steve, you got a final thought on this?
I can't believe you went all Wilbon there. My God, Whitlock, you had a good week. You just ruined it with that last take. What? Good grief!
You wouldn't watch Ken Dorsey. You wouldn't watch Ken Dorsey play a 7th year at Miami, Steve?
No. It's time to move
play
on.
3 years.
You're out of your mind. Like, you think, like, I am ready to see Darian Mensah take over for Carson Beck, who was there for, 5 or 6 throughout it. Do we not have standards? Like, what do you want? 21 Jump Street? You want, 30-year-old high school students? Come on. That's a bad... There's plenty of time for you to rescind that statement there, Whitlock.
Jason, you're actually you're full woke today, number one. Number two, you have fully endorsed you're giving the endorsement to transfer 7 times. Because remember, at USC, Steve Kim can recall this. You had Matt Castle, Matt Leinart. You had about 4 NFL guys. They never transferred, not one time, because they knew the next guy was in order, in line. The other guy was going to get drafted. This is the development process.
I'm anti-transfer portal, JB. And so my rule on eligibility would be, hey, if you stay at the original school that recruited you, stay as long as you want. That would be my. I'm anti-transfer portal, but if you went to Ball State,
but Jason, you can't do that if you got a 9th-year quarterback staying around. It doesn't make sense. Like, that's why they're leaving.
Yeah, good luck recruiting behind that, Jason. Yeah, good luck recruiting behind that. Okay.
What new blood are you going to get? So you're going to have a cadaver sitting in there at quarterback in the room there every year, and then
Did you see us play this year?
New 5-star kid.
Oh, God.
Steve, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go.
See you guys later. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Great job as always. JB, I want to play you a clip of Chris Sims saying that Malik Willis is a superstar. Let's play the clip.
I think Malik Willis is a superstar, right? I would think he is the crowning gem of guys that's going to be out there as far as free agents that you can get no compensation, trading, any like that.
Why wouldn't Pittsburgh go for Malik Willis?
If I were them, I'd be looking at that. You're exactly right. I mean, Malik Willis has proven. I mean, he's got special talent. He has a special arm. He's got special mobility. He knows how to run the offense and do all of that. So, yeah, he's a great story here. And again, I'm really a Jordan Love fan. I mean, again, I'm the one that was like, Jordan Love, I think, is going to be better than Tua when he was coming out in the draft, right? So I'm with that. But Malik Willis, I'm not going to say he's better than Jordan Love right now. I will say that I think he shows more potential to be a greater player than Jordan Love. That's what I would say right now. But I got to see a little bit more before I say he's better than Jordan Love.
Wow. Malik Willis and some mop-up spot duty he's that good, really?
No. This is a mockery. Listen, I know the Sims family. I coach against Matt, the younger one. Listen, I've talked to Phil. I've had him on the show a couple times. I know you probably know him as well. Pretty good. I like those guys. I get it. This is clickbait, though, and just like we all have and do. Malik Willis, what people don't understand is when you go in for an amount of games that no one has you documented for or scouted on, there's no book, which is the scouting report. If there's no book on you, then you're going to probably do better than you would if I had a full book and 11, 12 games on you. That's why Lamar struggles in the playoffs every year. Because the book is out. We know what he does in the regular season. We combat that in the postseason, and we do fire zones, and we drop D linemen and throw it in, make his vision cloudy, and we put him in the pocket. This is exactly what will happen to Malik Willis. He's a backup. And remember, these guys have a completely different pressure on them, Jason, when you come in unknowingly or at the spur of the moment. His athleticism will take over. He can ad-lib better than most. And then we all go ooh and awe because he earned me 35 draft points on DraftKings. Let's just be honest. That's the casual fan talking right there. So listen, do you remember
Chris
when DJ
Sims, you just called Chris Sims a casual fan?
No. I'm saying the casual fan is the one betting on all these players, and when when the quarterback gets 35, 40 draft points in one game, these guys think he's the next great thing.
Yep.
So what happens is, do you remember when DJU stepped in as a freshman for Trevor Lawrence, and they played Notre Dame, and he broke the freshman passing record at Clemson, 440 yards or whatever? Everybody anointed him the Heisman for the next season, blah, blah, blah. How'd that pan out? The pressure as a starter overwhelmed the kid, and he crumbled. And I know the family. Like, listen, I'm really tight with the family, growing up with both of them, the uncle and the dad. So I'm going to be clear here. The pressure is something that Malik Willis has not faced yet. Ask AR5. Ask Kyler Murray. Ask all these freak of nature athletes that get the starting nod and become nothing. The backup is the great role for Malik Willis. He needs to go to a team that has a solidified starter and continue his backup role, get high paid dollars. He could be the highest paid backup in football if Kirk Cousins moves on. And that's just what it is. Like, I would not be mad at that job in that life. And don't show your true colors, Malik, and be the starter somewhere and crap the bed. And then you lose the bag. So we've seen that far too many times.
I'm going... JB, you just said something that triggered me. And so I'm going to take the conversation off into some deeper waters that I didn't prepare you for. But when you talk about the pressure and these guys not being prepared for the pressure, and that it's one thing to do some spot duty and have some success. And people, this has been going on for ever and ever and ever. Last week, or maybe it was just this past weekend, I started watching these old Pittsburgh Steelers games. And then I saw NFL Films did a long documentary on the Steelers dynasty, and they walked you through, I think it was the 1974 season. And they went into that season, Chuck Noll, this was like Terry Bradshaw's 4th or 5th year. And Chuck Noll was ready to give up on Terry Bradshaw. And he turned to Joe Gilliam. Joe Gilliam had this great preseason, and they played 4 or 5 games back then in the preseason. And Chuck Noll gave the starting job to Joe Gilliam, the black quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And the players were on board with it. The city was on board with it. They were holding Terry Bradshaw dummies or dolls up in effigy. Everybody done. And Joe Gilliam went out there and I think played relatively well in the first couple of games. And then he went through a 2 or 3 game stretch where he played really, really poorly. And they had to turn back to Terry Bradshaw. And then Terry Bradshaw they ended up winning the Super Bowl this year. Terry Bradshaw by midseason got benched again for Terry Hanratty. And then they turned back to Terry Bradshaw at the end of the season, and the defense was so good, the running game was good enough that they ended up winning the Super Bowl. And from there, Terry Bradshaw went on. But they also showed you what happened to Joe Gilliam. Once Joe Gilliam lost the job, he started drinking, he started drugs, he completely fell apart and ended up out of the league a year or 2 later. And and the moral of the story was like the pressure was too much for Joe Gilliam. He snapped. And he couldn't handle the pressure. This is a lot of guys, and this is where I'm saying I'm going deep with it. But when we hand black kids the excuse that you can fail because it's racism, you can fail, you have a built-in excuse. You're preparing a kid who will always or will have more of a tendency to crack under pressure. White boys don't have excuses. They fail, it's on them. And so Terry Bradshaw, over the next 6 to 8 years of his career, despite being taken a total dump on, the dude couldn't leave his house, couldn't socialize the whole 9 yards. But he goes on. He has no choice. He doesn't have the excuse, well, it's racism, it's this and that. He fights through it, becomes a Hall of Famer, wins 4 Super Bowls. Joe Gilliam cracks. It's the excuse making is killing black kids. They have a built-in excuse to crack, to make excuses, and it makes them not as mentally tough as they need to be to play that quarterback position.
Joe Gilliam was a uber talented cat too. I mean, a lot of people thought he could have won more Super Bowls than Bradshaw if he ended up walking the straight line. The problem is, this goes back to what I was saying on your show a couple weeks ago. We fail them at a young age as coaches. Like there's anomalies out there like myself, Jason, meaning I coach it. I don't allow it. I don't care if you're black or white or what have you. I'm going to MF you, get in your butt, rear end, coach you hard, love you even harder. And if you fell outside of if you fell outside of my reach or my hands, then it's on you. And that's the one thing I'm more proud of than anything, Jason. No arrests after they left me. And my kids graduated and my kids got on. Now, did they all make it to the NFL? Did they all make it to? No, nobody does. But at the end of the day, coach them and not allow it. We allow it too much, Jason, because now, to your point, we, or any coach for that matter, will be absolutely canceled, as you just saw the dude at K-State, for getting in a cat and letting them know how he is and blah, 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 and expecting and demanding excellence. That used to be the norm. We can't, if you notice, it doesn't happen in business anymore. It doesn't happen in school as teachers, instructors, professors, coaches. So now if you do it, you're racist, you're sexist, you're whatever, you're something with an ist on it. And it's become what we created. Soft heads create hard butts. Let's just be honest. And that's what we're creating a bunch of. And this generation is full of them. and we're just enabling them, entitled them. We've entitled these kids. We call it player empowerment in the coaching profession. It is full-on player empowerment. We're in the jersey swap era. Kids don't care about winning and losing no more. Go watch a game seriously after the game and watch how happy both parties are, smiling from ear to ear. And it doesn't matter if it's a Game 7 playoff game in basketball or a playoff or a Super Bowl. Diggs couldn't have been happier to lose the Super Bowl and kick it with his homies after the game and get a picture. It's ridiculous. I would have never been seen. Get the hell out of here. We have enabled that, and that's the problem is. And I know too many coaches that are stepping away. I mean, look at Coach Hawk, man. He just left Montana. Been a great coach for a long time, and I'm glad he said it. He said what everyone else wants to say when they leave the profession. It is time to move on because the NIL and this portal and these kids are just killed. They've exhausted me, and the rules the NCAA have set forth has allowed or has pushed out a lot of good coaches. And so, it's unfortunate, but we're going to see more and more of that.
JB, did you catch Joey Porter going after Ben Roethlisberger? Let's play the clip, and then we'll get your reaction.
He broke the brotherhood. Then Seven definitely broke the brotherhood because,
that's the one I don't understand
the
as
shit
much.
that Seven did that we don't talk about.
I know.
is crazy. Like out of anybody should talk, he should never grab a microphone and really talk Steeler business. Yeah. Because if we talking Steeler business, his ass is foul of all foul. Like the shit that he's did is foul of all foul. He's not a good teammate. Won the Super Bowl with him, but the person, he's just not a good teammate. Like he knows that. Anybody in the Steeler building knows that, but we protected him because I've only won one Super Bowl. And that was my quarterback. So do I love my quarterback? Yeah, but is he a good person? No.
Sean King co-signed that yesterday. He was in Pittsburgh in 2016 in some kind of mentorship program. Does that ring true to what you hear about Ben Roethlisberger?
I know Joey well, prior to Bakersfield, California. Good dude, man. He's a real guy. He's gonna say what he feels or his personal interaction or experience is. He's gonna give it. So I'm not. There's no faking it or coming out with some clickbait or for views and likes coming out of Joey Porter's mouth. I will tell you that right now. Number one, and he'll stand on business. He'll tell you in your face exactly that right there to whoever. And he has great teammates who I'm really good friends with as well. Like the Pouncey twins, who I've known, who come on my show, who told him to F off. So if you haven't seen the Pouncey twins responding to Porter, you should find that. The
Pounceys totally disagree with what he said about Big Ben.
Yeah, so the thing is, Jason, I can't comment because I wasn't there. And either was any of us. Sean was there, I guess, for an internship deal, but how much real interaction are you getting inside that locker room? That's what I would ask Sean, and I will ask him that next week for my 50th birthday party that you're not invited to. And so, I'm just sitting there, I'm trying to figure out why are we commenting if this man played there? The Pouncey twins played there, or one of them was there, and he was the center, I believe, for Ben.
Yeah.
So that relationship obviously is a much, quarterback center relationships are going to be completely different than quarterback linebacker. Like those guys aren't in the same room ever. They don't even go against each other on the field. Ones versus ones, maybe 10% on the season. So I don't know, Jason. I'm not in a place to comment, to be honest, because I'm not there. I do have people that were there. My good friend was a left tackle there as well for Ben. Loves Ben to death. But again, another old lineman. Ben bought him watches. Ben bought him dinner, like I used to do to my old line. It's completely different, and you have to put in make it relative to what position is talking about what quarterback. He won a Super Bowl with the man, so he goes on and says that. I listened to that interview. And then you got James Harrison bashing Tomlin. There seems to be two different sides of the house in that Pittsburgh Steelers organization. And now you got AB's crazy butt coming out defending Ben, but then there's old tweets bashing Ben. So, come on. I want to ask you, is this really just a COE? What I'm learning is the internet. Content over everything. Is that what this really is? Because too many people have too many different opinions, and they were all there at the same time, Jason. Like, what are we talking about? I think it's all fugazi. I think they're all cool and kick it, and they're creating this podcast world to take over for mainstream media, which I know they're doing.
JB, you've made a hell of a point. A hell of a point. The content over everything. That is a possibility, because you're talking about
taught me that, right? Taught me that.
Oh,
Pac-Man Jones, who's a Trumper, by the way. Shout out to Pac-Man.
Yeah,
he'll be at my birthday. Pac-Man taught me that, because Pac-Man and all these different people, all these guys are doing it, Jason. And no one knows if it's real or fake anymore, which is why COE, content over everything. I don't care if you disagree about your mama jokes. What we're doing macro level is we're bringing back barbershop banter, which you and I grew up on. And we're bringing back, it's okay to disagree. Disagreements create great conversation. See, we've got into this space where you disagree with someone, or you're unwilling to even have a conversation with someone with a different viewpoint than yourself. So we've created this whole safe space, which has clearly divided the country, because used to be able to have a beer with a Democrat as a Republican, cuss each other out and buy each other shots and kick it and never have a problem. I'm losing friends daily on social media because of my political beliefs. And I'm just sitting there looking at them like, wow, then you were never my friend to begin with. And I have a lot of left-wing partners I grew up with who we laugh together still to this day. And like, we don't care, man. This is the same JB you've been forever, though. That's what people don't understand. So like, no, you just now have a platform. I say what I say. We were younger back then, and we didn't really care about politics because it was never this divided. And I think macro speaking, I think they're doing something that we haven't really fully thought of. And I think it's bringing back some people to have a conversation.
I think you've made a hell of a point. I gotta be careful here, but I was in a conversation this week with someone heavily involved in professional sports, and just they were telling me an incredible story. And they were telling me an incredible story that involved someone that I actually knew, and so I called the person to hear. And they were like, man, that never happened. And and they were just adamant, like, that did not happen. And it made me think like that everybody, and I've said it a million times, every former NBA player is on some podcast somewhere telling a Michael Jordan story. And Michael Jordan said this, and Michael Jordan did this. And I guarantee you Michael Jordan is somewhere, he may hear about this, or maybe he's watching, and he's just sitting there laughing like, that never happened. That's just people using my name and telling, because again, if you knew how many stories over the years that get told about me, that I'm like, that never happened. That I don't even know this person, that didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. But you're right, the athletes are sitting there, there's so much money at stake. It's such an easy job. Man, I just sit around in someone's basement and studio, and we smoke weed and have a drink and just make up stories, and we get paid. If you think, I mean, they're like, Chauncey Billups, why were you gambling? You should have just been somewhere on a podcast telling lies and stories and padding your income that way.
You probably was. Awesome. They were probably live streaming it.
Yeah.
Jason, I'm just telling you, I'm fully in belief. I don't know why Smitty doesn't get this, but I'm fully in belief that there is no just you fall out the sky and you become an instant $500 million Cy Canetti or whatever his name is. Who's
Kai Canetti?
Drewski.
Yeah.
The Bobby Altoff, the girl that just started interviewing Drake out of nowhere. Drake's her first person. Smitty's like, oh no, they've grinded. Really? So if it's so easy, go get LeBron on your podcast, Smitty, tomorrow. It's so easy. And then we see Kai Canetti or whatever his name is yesterday, full on sold his soul. He's in a dress at a modeling on a runway. And you're telling me he's an organic growth YouTuber, huh? This is all set up, man. These guys are hand-picked, hand-selected. It's a mockery. That's why I've been telling everybody. They don't believe me. Now you're seeing it firsthand. These guys are selected. They all have CAA.
I'll go a cut deeper. I'll go a cut deeper. And you're talking to someone. I loved rap music. Loved it. Was like a rap historian. I'm telling you. Me too. And to me, the most talented rapper of all time is a guy named Tech Nine out of Kansas City. We were friends. I'm on King of Diamonds album. I'm on it. Again, he's one of the few rappers that had talent. But if you really evaluate rap, most of these guys, they don't have any, they're all interchangeable. When I saw them take, like, Sexy Red, first of all, why is anybody calling her sexy? She's very unattractive. She's tatted up everywhere. She looks nasty as hell, like everybody's run through her. And they're calling her Sexy Red. She can't rap, but they instantly turned her into a star out of nowhere. I was like, you can't, this game is rigged. They can do it for me. They can do it for you. It doesn't take any talent. It's just, are you willing to sell your soul?
Jason, Cardi B is almost the R word. I can't even understand her. I'm not going to say
retard.
The word.
What are you?
Yes,
we say retard on this show.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I don't want you to get hit by FCC like Bad Bunny. So, like, yeah, she's retarded. Kamala has her on stage, though. That just tells you, like, that's how bad this thing is, man. It's all selected. You can't tell me these guys are organically grow. What is he known for? Where did he come from? Oh, yeah, JB, he stood up. He was a stand-up comedian. No, so what? I know a lot of stand-up comedians. They're just still at the Laugh Factory, Jason, on a Sunday with 8 people watching them. They've been doing it 20 years. All of a sudden, you're on T-Mobile commercials? Man, people need to stop with this organic stuff. These guys just don't drop out of the sky and have LeBron James and Kevin Hart and all these people at their house on a show that's getting $500 million bags thrown at them, and now you're in a dress. How ironic is this? So you know what the truth is, Jason? It's really the heroes of a lot of these people that follow them, because you got a bunch of nobodies following a nobody, and they made a somebody. And unfortunately, those heroes are all falling now. You're seeing the true colors come out of all these so-called people, heroes out there, and that's why I never follow that. I never follow that way, and I'm never gonna follow these cats, and that's why I never wore certain things, and I won't. These guys follow the wrong people, man, and that's what's unfortunate. It's all about content over everything.
I'm on we got it. JB, I want to, this is along the same lines, and this is basically, we're just continuing the whole Cat Williams conversation about these people are planted. And speaking of plants, I told y'all this 2.5 years ago. This is Robert Costa, CBS reporter. Stephen A. Smith is moving closer to a 2028 campaign. Spending a few days with him in recent months reminded me of spending a few days with Trump back in 2013 and 14. Many laughed at the prospect of a bid, but in the age of celebrity and social media, ... Stephen and JB.
Which party?
The Democrats.
See, I don't think so. Like, this guy's such a flopper. He's such a flip-flopper. Like, which one is it? He's pro-Trump this day. He's a conservative thinker. And then on this day, he goes on ESPN and he's woke liberal again. Like, come on, man. If anyone believes these people, and it's not, and that tweet right there is not exactly 100% accurate, then you are falling for the okie doke. That is what he's doing. It's content over everything. This guy is literally telling the American people on his personal show that he's a Republican conservative. And then on ESPN under Disney, he's a woke liberal. Which one is it? Like, he's living 2 lives, and you've called out this guy for the basketball stuff and all the fake stuff that he's done. I mean, are we not going to buy in and listen to that story again? This is what he is.
I'm telling you, I read the book almost 3 years ago, Straight Shooter Memoir, and I came out 2.5 years ago and said, hey, man, this is like the Obama book. This guy's putting himself in position to run for president. There's a pattern here. There's a reason why Bob Iger has stepped down at because that's who's Stephen A's puppet master. And so he's stepping aside. They got a new CEO at Disney so that he can help Stephen A. Smith and continue to be his puppet master, his controller, handler for Stephen A. Smith. And there's a reason why Shannon Sharp has been instructed to say, hey, I want to come back to ESPN if they'll have me. What that really means is ESPN's already reached out to me. They know that Stephen A is about to go into politics, and we need you back here to do First Take while Stephen A runs for president. And so all of next year, Stephen A, or this year, Stephen A, and at some point this year, he'll reconnect with Shannon Sharp. And then come 2027, Stephen A will move off of First Take, focus full in on his campaign run. Who's
his agent? Who's his agent?
His agent is Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel and the people at WME and whatever they're called.
Follow that line.
Yeah, I know.
There's two lines. There's CAA and there's WME.
Yeah.
Those are the two that are eventually going to come to a halt and crash at the precipice here. They're going to crash at the top of the deal. And somebody's got to start making some decisions which way you're going, because both parties cannot survive in this space. McAfee told me years ago when I was on his show every week that we haven't even tapped into the internet dollars. The amount of money that we can make on the internet, we haven't really tapped in. You're seeing the Cy Canettis and all these guys getting $500, $600 million offers for doing what? But it's very far and few between. Now, everybody's saturating the space, just like the liquor business that I'm in with whiskey and vodka, and the cigar business, how hard that space is. It's the same thing because everyone saturates it. You throw out 1 million people doing a podcast, every average Joe in their basement, like you said, and then eventually the cream rises to the top, and you have a name and you have content that people like. So what happens, Jason, to keep up with that, you have to go COE. You got to do content over everything to get yourself over the top where these guys, WME and CAA, sees, and then they drop you in on a Drake podcast out of nowhere. This little white girl sitting in her basement, and everybody's like, who's this? And then she's got 100 million followers on YouTube, literally like this. You think that's all just, I'm barely getting to 100,000, Jason. I've been doing it 6 years. I haven't bought a follower. Never, ever, ever will I. And everyone's like, oh, I've been told by some higher ups, oh, just buy them. They don't care. Like I got 400,000 followers like this because I bought them. And I can tell the bot ones from the organic ones. You can too. Let's look at how many likes they get and how many comments they are by a bunch of bot females living in some model girl in Italy. I'm like, what the heck is this? There's 1,000 comments from the same girl in a different picture. And I'm like, what? I'm realizing all this is fake, man. I'm realizing we're living in a fake space. And I'm going to just keep riding out the organic side, Jason, like you, and see what happens. Because at the end of the day, I think the world is turning back to, we want real, authentic, spitters. We don't want this fake stuff, because I think we're seeing that. And that's why I don't carry any weight with that whole Joey Porter thing and the Pittsburgh Steelers thing. There's too many people talking on too many different ways. You both were there at the same time. Can't be that bad. You won Super Bowls. Like I'm not buying it. I think this is all fake space, and I think the money's unlimited in it. It's just the approach that we take to get it.
JB, great job as always. I appreciate the birthday party invite. I'll be there with bells on.
Oh, did you get one? Nah, that was a mass text I must have sent. You know what? Sean King will be there. Maybe Urlacher, my boy Pat Perez. We're gonna have some people. Eric Weddle. We're gonna have some people show up. Marcellus, Willie McGinnis.
What are the gun laws in LA right now? Can I carry my heat?
And nobody cares. That's why we have so many shootings. So they won't check you. Hey. So look.
Yeah.
I've been off all week. I did a Monday show after the Super Bowl, of course, and then I've been off chilling. We're going to go back next week, and then I'll take another week off. You got to refresh, Jason. I've been on the jet ski this week. I've been on it's been raining, though, so I haven't been on the yacht. But I've been on the Peloton, and I think about you every time I'm on the Peloton, burning the calories. So I'll have my morning coffee, and I know my intake. That's why I've lost so much weight. That's why I'm a model now. And then I'm like, I burn those calories or more on the Peloton every day. Go buy your Peloton.
I
burn
got my
more calories than you
Stairmaster.
take. Nah, that don't work. Take the intake of what you eat and then plus it on the calorie burn on the Peloton, and you'll be fine. You'll lose weight like this. But I thought about you.
JB, I appreciate it. I'll be in touch. Enjoy your weekend. Guys, in 9 minutes exactly, we'll be on the Harmony Channel. We'll be talking about the movie Relationship Goals. It's about Mike Todd, the minister out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's a fascinating movie. It'll be a fascinating discussion. I'll be there at 11:30 in 9 minutes with Shamika, Virgil, and Anthony. The rest of you all on Fearless here, we'll see you next week.